Hello. Beautiful day, bit blowy though, but we've had a storm called Storm Kathleen, and that's been really windy and quite wet. We've been reasonably lucky. We didn't have it too wet. Here he is. But yeah, some parts of the country has had it really wet. So hello. Oh, bloody people coming. Always busy. Oh, they've gone. Okay, now I'm going to make this video. I haven't really put any thought into this whatsoever, so I do apologise to the person. We were on our way out, and I was just checking me emails and reading comments on videos, things like that. And anyway, I received a message today. Bodie! I've received a message today that a little bit concerning, so I thought I would deal with it straight away. Not deal with it, do you know what I mean? Anyway, it turns out a young lady has been diagnosed with a form of well, some form of mental illness. Okay, she doesn't want me to say too much, and I know she's very worried about, don't say my name. Well, I'm not. I did tell you that there's some things in life you can control, other things you can't control, and obviously one thing you can control is, you know, what you want. And you said to me, don't say my name. Well, I won't say your name. And I know you said, oh, but I'm worried about. Well, don't be worried, because look at the colours. That's why you shouldn't be worried. Anyway, so I did read through your message 3 or 4 times, and really to store the bullet points in my head of what I might want to say. Bodie, please. Okay, so number one, what I want to say is, whatever you get diagnosed with, whatever, whether it be mental or physical or whatever, it doesn't define you. It doesn't mean that that's who you are. It doesn't mean that that's all you are. That's all, and you know, all about you. It doesn't mean that at all. So that's really important to remember. First and foremost, really, no matter what anybody says, any medical profession says, oh, you're this, you're that, that's fine to a degree, but it doesn't define you. It doesn't mean that you have to be that way. And what I can tell you is, in my experience, from my personal experience, but also with working and all the rest of it, everything comes and goes, everything in waves. So although you've got a mental illness, or you've been diagnosed with a mental illness, and from what you've said, it's probably that's the right diagnosis. I mean, it might not be, you know, but I think it is. But it will come in waves. I know you said that you've been struggling since Christmas. That's a long time, really. Bless you. You know, I'm pleased that you went and got the help that you deserve, you know. But I can tell you that things will, and they do, come in waves. They really do. And right now, you may be on the way up, who knows, and soon you'll be on the way down. And it could be tomorrow that you're starting to feel better. It could be next week. It could be a year's time. I've no idea, because I'm not you. I haven't got exactly what you've got. I've got maybe a working knowledge of things, but we're all individuals, and things affect all of us in many different ways. You can have one person diagnosed as being this, but another person being diagnosed as that, and yet you'd never know it. If you put those two people together, you would never ever know it. The things will come in waves. Bodie, I take things on a day-to-day basis. I never used to do this. And now I do. And do you know what? Having cancer has taught me a lot, really, and it's just to take things on a day-to-day basis. And I say to myself, so how am I feeling today? And this is today, how I'm feeling. Tomorrow might be very, very different, who knows? But what I used to say is, things like I'm really anxious. Well, actually, there was times during those times when I said I was really anxious that actually I had some good days. So I wasn't really anxious, I was reasonably anxious or semi-anxious. And it might have even gone down lower than that to hardly anxious. So I now take it day by day. And I say to myself, well, how am I today? So, if we're going to talk about being anxious, today, my anxious levels are either nil or perhaps as close to nil as possible. That's today. That's this moment in time. And they may be very different, in 2 hours' time or 2 days or 2 weeks, who knows. So we'll see. But for now, today, I'm feeling pretty good on an anxious level, and it may change. Who knows? I could get a letter today, couldn't I, from some of the things I struggle with is opening mail. I know it's crazy, but I don't like to read medical stuff or even think about medical stuff, probably for obvious reasons. But if I get home, say in an hour or two, get home and there's a letter, I need to open it straight away, otherwise I won't open it. So as I open it, and the first thing I see is the heading of my hospital, and straight away I've gone from being virtually 0 on the anxious scale, and I've gone up 1, 2, 3, 10, 20, 50. I'll start reading it, and it might say, we just made you a general appointment, just a checkup or something like that. And I think, oh, okay, oh, that's not bad. And now I sit down, and I'm a bit jittery. I'm probably up to about level 50 in my anxiety level, just for a letter. So I don't know how I'm going to be in an hour. That's what I'm saying. So things chop and change, and you will find yourself going up and down this scale, and you've only just freshly been diagnosed. But when you get really used to who you are, how you are, and that's how you are now, okay, you weren't perhaps this way 5 years ago or whatever, or perhaps you were and you never knew it. But you learn to live with things. You learn to manage. It's the most important thing. You learn to manage things. And you will learn. You will manage. Things will get easier. They will get better. And even at the height of your worst times, you will manage. And you'll think, okay, well, that's getting easier for me to deal with. It's like anything, isn't it? Let's say, riding a bike or whatever may be difficult the first time. You might fall off a couple of times and you get better and better at it. The more you do it. My first ever panic attack was in an MRI scan, and that was bloody awful. But I've had an MRI scan since. And the previous night, the night before the second MRI scan, I really thought it through and thought, how can I manage this? What can I do? Well, what I can do is be honest. So I go in and I say to the nurses, I've got panic disorder, so I need to know that I can hear you and you can hear me. So is there a microphone or speakers? They said, yeah. I said, can we check that? And they said, yeah. and we checked it, and it was loud and clear, working lovely, no problem. And I said, look, please just talk to me, you know, just say, are you okay, or whatever, are you comfortable, and then we begin. And I'll say yes back, and just say to me, okay, I've heard your answer, thank you. That might be all I need, might be. But I thought how I was going to handle this. Can I do some deep breathing in the car? Can I arrive in the car park 10 minutes before and get myself in a real calm, settled place? Can I don't know, whatever. Can I take medication? Well, actually, yes, I did at that time. I took diazepam. I felt I needed it, so I took it. Do whatever works for you, because you're managing your mental health. You are managing it. Not the doctors, not your friends, not anybody else. Anybody who wants to turn their nose up at you, fuck them. You know, you are managing your mental health. And if that's medication, take medication. If it's, it may be a case of whatever, if you've got to go through something like that, and you physically on that day you cannot do it, phone up and say I can't do it. Tell them. And you know what, they may say, well, okay, let's think about this, let's do this for you, let's do that for you, can we try a different way? They might do, who knows. Or they might say, okay, we'll book it in a couple of weeks when you're more settled in your mind. And either one or the other is great. And it's about being honest, it's about knowing you as well, really. Like I said, you've only just been diagnosed, you've got to now learn who you are, what triggers things, what upsets your, you know, your circadian rhythms, your mind, your what benefits you, when is your soul at the most content, how and why, and what can you do with this, how can you manage, how can you progress. Bode, come on love, come on love, thank you. But it is about learning who you are, managing what you've got. And I hope that that's helped, but things will definitely move on, they will progress, they will get easier, because you'll learn to manage, and things do come in waves, and all of that is absolute fact. Now the question you asked is, will I be like this forever? I've no idea, I can't answer that, no idea, but probably is the answer, probably yes is the answer. However, things do come in waves, and do you know what? Panic disorder is one of the things I've got, and although I say I've got panic disorder because I've been diagnosed with it, and of course I have got it, hence 9 panic attacks, but what if I never had another panic attack? Would I have panic disorder? Well, yes, I would, because it gives me the strength to do what I said. Going for something to a doctor or whatever, and I say to them, you know, I've got panic disorder, so I need this and I need that, and can you make sure you do this? And all that is just to look after myself, to manage what I've got. So the diagnosis for me isn't a hindrance. It does help, and I think for most people it does help. I don't want to say too much because you've asked me not to about a couple of things. Going back to what you said, will I be like this forever? Does it matter? If you're like this forever, but you know now what you've got, that might make things a lot easier for you. And like I say, I can say I've got this and I've got that, and can we do this and can we do that? And in time, so will you, because you'll learn to deal with it, to manage with, you know, manage what you've got. When I was a kid, when I was 17 then, something like that, I had quite a big group of mates, and you know, we used to do everything that 17-year-olds do, you know, silliness and what have you. But we used to go to the local fairs. There was a couple of big fairs, you know, fairgrounds, and they'd all go on the big fast rides. I was always not scared of them. I used to think I was scared of them, but there was something else, you know. Couldn't really put my finger on it. Well, it was a level of anxiety. I had anxiety about these bloody things, how they were built, how they were put together with split pins and stuff like that. My anxiety was, how safe is this? Will this crash? You know, will it end up chopping my bloody legs off? Who knows? You know, that was my anxiety. We didn't use anxiety in them words, and particularly being a 17-year-old lad, the words we used was, "You're a wimp, you're a chicken, come on Bri, get on it, you're a dickhead, you're a loser." That's all fine, that's just words, you know, but what it was a level of anxiety. It always, I'll turn this off and turn it back on. There we go, I've just turned that off. It goes off at about 20 minutes. When I think about me being 17 and some of the struggles that I had, and particularly, you know, when I was 20, 21, at 21 I was diagnosed with dysthymia. And that was a difficult thing to get through, but you know, you do get through and you do learn. Now with the internet, Christ, it's much easier. I wish I had the internet when I was 21. I would have learned so much, so quick. But because I was anxious when I was 15, 16, 17, I was anxious, but we didn't use those words. I don't think anybody used those words. But it puts me in mind of, she's dead and gone now, bless her. There was a woman, they made a documentary about her, and she had a son who went to war, whatever war that would have been, and he wrote to her, and she kept all his letters, and he kept her letters, and that was the crux of the documentary, really. And in the first letter he wrote, "How are you, Mum? And I don't mean on a surface level. We all know you suffer with your nerves." Well, that's a funny, odd saying, isn't it? You suffer with your nerves. And of course what he was meaning, without knowing it back then, is she had anxiety. She really struggled with her anxiety. Anyway, the documentary went on, and there was times when she had to go out to go shopping and what have you, and she made excuses sometimes, and maybe a friend would call round and she'd say, "Oh, you're not going up the shop, are you?" She said, "I've got an ache in my leg, would you get me some," you know, whatever. But it was because she was just feeling, you know, a bit off on that day, and it was anxiety, that's what it was. But of course people didn't know that things were called whatever they were called back then. You know, I know it's bad, but growing up I heard all sorts of phrases, not just about me but about other people. He'll end up in the nut house, oh, don't hang around with him, he's a bit of a nutter. Sad, isn't it, really? You know, maybe that person was, I don't know, whatever, you know. Boat, this way, my love. You come in? Yeah. Here he is. Hello, my little love. Yeah, we used to say so-and-so's daddy's round the fucking bend. Really is. He's a madman. And perhaps if he was alive today, he'd be diagnosed with something, bipolar, perhaps, you know. There was a dad of one of my friends, you never knew who you're going to get with him. And I said that to my friend. I said, "Your dad's weird. One day it's kind of, oh, hello mate, come on in. Yeah, he's in the lounge or whatever." And another time he'd literally slam the door in my face. And very, very strange. Well, now I believe he'd be diagnosed as bipolar. I mean, sadly, long gone, you know. But maybe he would have had an easier and a better life had we had these terms and phrases and stuff like that. So what I'm saying is, I don't know whether it's going to affect you forever. It may affect you on lots of different levels, and hopefully on a very mild level. But we've got to be thankful that we do live in this day and age where not only can you be diagnosed with something, but you can be treated. Not cured, but treated. You know, maybe treated with medication to start off with. I don't know what your doctor or psychologist or whatever, I don't know what you've been offered, what treatments, talking therapies, it goes on and on and on really. And if you're unhappy with anything, say it. Say to your doctor, you know, I've done, the first thing they'll offer you is CBT, right? Now, I shouldn't be slagging CBT off, but it's not very good, in my opinion. But anyway, it does work for some, so give it a try. You may find it's not great for you. And if it's not great for you, say to your doctor, I've done a course of CBT and it really didn't help me. You know, just be honest. But now we're born in this day and age where we do have, people are taking things seriously, particularly mental health. I think years ago, perhaps in the 1930s, 1940s, even 50s or whatever, your physical health mattered and your mental health, you was just seen as a bit of a pain in the arse really. So the advice I would give you right now is just to let it wash over you. Get used to it, but just let it wash over you. Take some deep breaths. And what I said this morning was, you know, meditation is important for all of us. We don't realise how important meditation is until we've been through whatever diagnosis, whatever terrible state we've got in, until we've been suicidal, until we've had a terrible disease, until we've had to have surgery or whatever. You know, so meditation is very, very important. Chill out time is very important. Knowing who you are, knowing what this thing is. And don't forget, it will affect everybody differently. So it will affect you on your level only. So whatever you read, don't take it with a pinch of salt, because I mean, some of the things you will read will be written by decent people. And hopefully, perhaps even listening to this is worthwhile. Another person will listen to this and think, oh, I don't agree with any of that, and that's fine. It's got to work on your level for you. And as I said, you will find your way through. There's always a way through, and you will find your way through. And that is guaranteed. Because now you've been diagnosed, it's actually a good thing. It really is a good thing. You can learn about it, you can read about it, you can understand it, you can get used to it on your level now. And you can try many, many different things to help. On a personal level, again, I refused medication for so long. Nearly 30 years. I thought I can deal with all this, and I could, until the time that I couldn't. And I had to get some form of medication. Now sadly, the medication they put me on was rubbish. For me, absolutely rubbish. And I really needed something to help, and then they put me on another medication, and I kept going back and said, this is not working. Third medication worked, but it only worked mildly. But you know what, that mild, the mild relief I got was amazing. It was everything. It was absolutely wonderful. I'm not going to go there. I thought I'd be wet. Don't know what you can see up there. See that black mud. We're going to go this way, my little friend. Helicopter or something, I don't know. To cut a long story there, the medication I have tried lots and lots and lots of different medications. Some have helped slightly, some have helped not at all. And finally, I'm on a medication I take a huge amount, but I'm on something that does help to a degree, you know, a reasonable degree. I wish it was better, but I'm just not one to be helped how I'd like with medication, unfortunately. So that's fine. So what do I put in place of medication? Well, I take the medication that I've got. I take ashwagandha. Do your own research. I take ashwagandha. I'm on a break from ashwagandha for a month or so now. I take it for about 3 months, have a break for about a month or so, and if I need to start taking it, and normally I do, so I'm back on it for a little while. But it's just a herb, it's great, it doesn't upset the system in any way. The other things I put in place are, as I said, it's meditation, it's living a quiet life, it's knowing who I am, knowing what triggers me, knowing what upsets me, knowing what I can and cannot do, and be honest with myself. But the biggest thing that I learned with cancer was control. My anxiety went sky high, off the Richter scale, and it didn't come back down until after, because the first time I went in for surgery, God, I was terrible. It was cancelled, thank fuck it was cancelled. But then second time I went in, it was all much better. But up until that first time that I was going to have surgery, things weren't addressed. Things weren't working correctly for me in my head, so therefore my anxiety was all over the place. Nobody was talking to me, nobody was trying to alleviate any worries or issues or concerns that I had. I had an auntie, and she died under anaesthetic, and that's always been one of my concerns. And the reason why I'm concerned about it is my old mum was very concerned about it. That was her sister, and my old mum, when she had her hip replaced, she didn't be knocked out. She had an epidural and lots of other things. Bless her, I mean, God. I said, what was that like? She saw how they was pulling and pushing and soaring. Anyway, she just couldn't do it. So I learned from that to be a bit afraid of anaesthetic, and turns out rightly so, because my heart struggled massively during the cancer surgery. But I learned there are things you can control in life, but there's a lot you can't control. And what I learned with the cancer was, the biggest concern I had was obviously surgery. You know, whatever was going on in surgery, you know, any mistakes they may have made, any sort of internal bleeding they may have caused, problems with the anaesthetic, you know, having a massive heart attack and dying, whatever. I was just concerned that I wasn't going to come back from everything. And actually I thought, well, I'm not in control of any of that. If I don't come back, I don't come back. There's nothing I can do about it. I can worry about it, but I can't do anything about it. I'm not doing the surgery. I'm not holding the scalpel. I'm not cutting up a human body. I'm not in control of that. I'm not in control of managing my breathing, my medication. I'm not in control of keeping this body down and asleep. I'm not in control of any of that. And that took all of that away from me, and I realised that was my biggest concern, was all about the surgery. And once all of that anxiety was taken away, I was only anxious about 2 or 3 much smaller things, and actually I could deal with them. because I had that energy, that power, that anxiety that I'd given over to something that I couldn't control. It was now given back to me, because I realised that, okay, I'm not in control of that. But again, it's knowing yourself, knowing what you're in control of, because there's a lot that we're not in control of. Why worry about it, you know? It's absolutely pointless. I know we do worry because we're humans, and you know, that's what we do. We tend to worry. Worry is often very, very unfounded, and I think we all know that. How many times have you been worried in your life about something? Oh, you know, if this happens, that'll happen, and then this, and oh, I bet so-and-so's had a bloody accident, that's why they haven't phoned me. How many times have we been worried and it didn't happen? So worry is very unfounded most of the time. All worry does, it steals the joy from the moment, you know, this moment. If I start worrying about what might be in a month's time, 6 months' time, you know, I've got this, I believe it's this year or next year, I've got another camera having a look inside of me. I can't worry about that. I worry about it at the time, you know, probably on the morning, but I'm not going to be worried about it from now right up until such times as it's going to take place. And there's other things coming up to do with my heart and whatever. I'm not going to give it too much thought. You know, whatever happens, so we'll wait and see, but I think I'll be fine. You know, I certainly feel mostly pretty good. So life is often how you think about it. And it's the reality as well. You can deal with the reality of the situation, not the thought of the situation. Okay? So what really is happening, you can give that a bit of energy. What you think might happen in 6 months, don't give that any energy. It doesn't deserve your energy. It might never happen, and if it happens, you will deal with it at the time. Anyway, I hope this has helped a little bit. Obviously we'll converse a bit more, but you said you do like to listen to my voice. You said you find me calming. I hope you found this calming to a degree, and not upsetting, because, you know, maybe, like I said, maybe having a diagnosis is not the be all and end all, and it doesn't define you, but it may bring something to your mind that settles your mind. You may think, okay, I've been diagnosed with this, and a lot of people, of course everybody's different, a lot of people, when they're diagnosed with this, they feel like blah blah blah, or they've tried blah blah blah, or the medication that's worked for them is blah blah, whatever, you know. And just to end this, really, there's probably, and I don't know, but because I've only just got the message, but there's probably support groups. Maybe that's something that might help. Phone your doctor and ask them. Go online, type in various things, and see what's out there in your locale. And, you know, if you can go along to something like that, I can't, but, you know, if you can, then maybe that's a good thing. And finally, the last thing, I know how concerned you were with me making this video. Please don't say this bit and that bit. Please don't say my name. Please don't. Well, I haven't done, and I did promise, and that was your control, you know, which is fine. But what I would say to you is be honest with people around you, your family, your friends, your loved ones, because the decent people will support you, they will care, they will be there, even if they don't understand. If you say, look, I've been diagnosed with this, and what this means is blah blah blah, you'll find that the decent people out there, and I've got them in my life, I've got people in my life that say, look, I don't understand at all. I've never had this. I've never suffered from this or managed this or even heard of this. But you have my full support. I'm here. If you want to talk, I'm here. Somebody just said the other day, a really good friend, He said, if you're ever struggling in any way, and it's like 2 in the morning, he said, I'm still up. He said, I am awake a lot at 2 in the morning. Try me, you know, give us a bell. So, and thank you, you know who you are. Now that person, you know, he hasn't got what I've got, so how could he understand? Well, he maybe he doesn't understand, but he's there to listen, you know? And he appreciates that, okay, Bry's off his marbles in this way. And I appreciate him being off his marbles in his way. Anyway, you will find your way through. Be honest with yourself, first of all. Get used to things, first of all. And then look for some sort of guidance, support. Once the acceptance is there, your acceptance, then things get easier all the way round. Okay, you take good care, and please don't be afraid. You've still got a future, you know. Definitely, still got a future. Maybe different to the one you had planned, and that's a good thing. It really is. Alright, much love to you. Take care. Be as well as you can be. Ta-ra.